In the year 70 AD, Roman legions sacked and burned Jerusalem. Israel would remain a nation in exile for nearly 2,000 years. But in the aftermath of World War II, the people of the book returned home. Israel's rebirth and survival in the 20th century has often been called a miracle. Those who were there cite their own experiences as proof. I'm Michael Greenspan. I'm an investigative journalist. These are their stories.
You guys all set?
Yes. We'll meet you on Channel 10. You know the others, right?
Yeah, I've been there.
Okay, bye. See you there.
Bye.
יאללה חבר'ה, עלו לבן.
Every conquering invader, from the Roman Titus to the Crusaders to Sir Edmund Allenby, who took it from the Ottoman Turks in 1918, has gazed down on the city of David from right here. This is the Mount of Olives. From here you can see all of Jerusalem. I'm meeting Professor of History and Historian Gershon Bar Kokhba. He came to Israel from America as a young man over 30 years ago. He's a recognized authority on the War of Independence.
The day the Jewish state was established, 15 in May 1948, we had only one tank. One tank. We had only 3 armored vehicles. 3. We had only 5 cannons, that they weren't even here. They were on their way from Europe that we bought. 5 cannons. We didn't have even 1 bomber. We didn't have even 1 aircraft. And we were surrounded with 7 Arab nations with big army. And they were sure. It's a few hours, maximum a few days, and the Jews will be slaughtered, will be thrown to the sea. And it's unbelievable. It wasn't easy. It was over a year of war. We had about 6,000 casualties. That's 1% out of the Jewish nation that was here. That's more than nations suffered in the Second World War. But we survived. And it was a big victory. Why? Not because we were strong. We did the best to be the strong. We did the best to bring over here aircrafts and tanks, and we brought them during the war. But there's somebody up there that decide this is the time. They'll pay the price. It will be hard. I want to see that they're going to do the big effort, and I'll help them. Over here, on our right, the Zion Mount. The Jewish state was established on Friday. Monday night, there were 1,800 Jews under siege in the Jewish quarter. And the Palmach, the most strongest force we had in the Independence War, decide we have to get inside. And on Monday night, they conquer the Zion Mount.
בחיים לא הייתי מאמין לזה. בחיים לא הייתי מאמין. וכמה פעמים אמרתי לו? אמרתי לו 3-4 פעמים.
In the morning, 5 soldiers of us were in front of the Zion Mountain, and thousands of Arabs started a counterattack to the Zion Mountain.
חבר'ה, יש לנו אורחים! יש לי רק 5 כדורים! אצלי 6! יש רק 4!
נשארו לי רק 3 כדורים.
טוב חבר'ה, היה כיף להכיר אתכם.
אולי אין לנו שום סיכוי, אבל אנחנו יכולים להילחם כמו גדולים. לפחות כמה דקות. ואחר כך, אללה ירחמו. אל תדאגו. זה ייגמר מהר.
This guy named Shimon Mordechai Rappaport says that they shot the last bullet.
חבר'ה, נשאר לי רק כדור אחד אחרון.
אוי, זה הסוף.
And they were sure that's the end. They're going to be slaughtered.
זהו, זה נגמר, חבר'ה. זה נגמר. עשינו מה שיכולנו.
And the Arabs that felt that there are no more shooting, they started yelling, Itbach el-Yahud, kills the Jews, and started running towards this emplacement. And suddenly, they heard the Arabs yelling, Ibrahim, Ibrahim, Ibrahim! Abraham, and Abraham. And running away. They have no idea what happened.
חבר'ה, הם בורחים! זה לא יאומן!
Shimon Mordechai's Rappaport cousin, that was a fighter in the Six-Day War, 19 years later, told me that he was a medic during the war. And one of the soldiers told him his story. I was a driver of a tank, an Israeli tank, during the war. And suddenly the crew of the tank started yelling, hearing him yelling. They asked him, what happened? And he didn't answer. He was yelling from terrified. And he took his tank, took to the side, and started running with the tank in the desert. The commander of the tank, that was a battalion commander, told him stop, because after the tank, all the battalion started going after him. And he told him, what happened? What were you yelling? And this soldier was telling him, you didn't see what was standing on the road? So the commander, what are you talking about? He told him there was a huge guy standing like, looks like a monster, standing in the middle of the road and going me with his hand. Yeah! I got so frightened. I went on his side and I ran away. He just finished to tell him, and suddenly the area that the battalion was supposed to go through on the road was bombed. A few days later, Shimon Mordechai Rappaport takes his cousin, Ira Rappaport, to the Mount of Zion and telling him his story 19 years beforehand. And there was an Arab over there that was sitting and hearing this story. This Arab comes over to him and tells him, just 1 second, you fought over here 19 years beforehand? He said, yes. I don't believe it. I was one of the Arabs that attacked. Oh, you try to kill me, I try to kill you. Shaking your hand. But then Shimon Mordechai Rappaport asked him, just 1 second, I have to understand. Why did you run away? We didn't have any ammunition. The Arab told him, I don't believe. What, you didn't see what was over there? What are you talking about? What, you really didn't see? What are you talking about? The Arab told him there was this huge guy over your emplacement that was going us with his hand. Oh, we were sure that's Abraham, you're the patriarchs, your father. We got so scared, we ran away. Unbelievable. I'm an army guy. I'm a lieutenant colonel. I'm a commander of an army battalion, tanks. And I was 2 feet on my ground. But sometimes when I learn, do a research on a battle, and I don't understand. Even the people that fought in that fight don't believe. doesn't make sense. Something else happened over here.
David Ben-Gurion declared Israel's statehood on May 14, 1948. We extend a hand of peace and a call to be good neighbors with all those countries and their peoples who surround us. Ben-Gurion's call was answered before nightfall the next day. The combined armies of Egypt, Syria, Lebanon, Jordan, and Iraq descended on the tiny strip of land the Jews now reclaimed as their homeland after 2,000 years in exile. The odds of Israel's survival seemed impossible. Aryeh Yitzhaki is one of Israel's military historians. We talked about the war for independence.
כשהתחלתי במחקר שלי הראשון על מלחמת העצמאות כחוקר צעיר מאוד, הלכתי לאיש שהיה האדריכל של המלחמה. ראש אג"ם, רב אלוף יגאל ידין. כשבאתי למשרד שלו, חדר העבודה שלו, הוא היה ארכיאולוג מפורסם, חשף את מצדה, ראיתי קובץ מסמכים, קלסר, סודי ביותר. היה כתוב עליו Top Secret, והיה כתוב עליו בכתב היד שלו, The Great Miracle, הנס הגדול. הסתכלתי עליו, ואז שאלתי אותו, רב אלוף ידין, איך זה אתה כותב על הקלסר, הנס הגדול? אתה הרי אתאיסט, לא מאמין בניסים. אמר לי, כן, הייתי אתאיסט עד מלחמת העצמאות, ואחרי מה שקרה במלחמה, התחלתי להאמין בניסים. קרו פה דברים שאין לי הסבר הגיוני, ולכן כתבתי הנס הגדול.
This is the Palmach Museum in Tel Aviv, dedicated to the young freedom fighters who led the underground struggle for independence against the British. Along with the Irgun, Herzl, and other freedom fighters, they became the heart of Israel's army. The thousands of pictures archived here in the Palmach Museum were sent here by many of those soldiers years later. They are a visual diary of a nation at its birth. Sheikh Gavish was one of those young men in 1948. He looked back with me on those days.
קודם בוא תראה את התמונות שיש לך פה. אתה רואה כאן תמונות של הדור הישראלי, יצחק רבין, יגאל אלון, מולה כהן. אתה רואה פה בחורות שהגיעו מהשואה, אירופה. ואתה רואה כאן עולה תימן, ירוחם כהן, שהוא היה מפקד מחלקת המסתערבים, אלה שחדרו מעבר לגבול. כל החבורה הזו התגייסה בגיל מאוד צעיר, 18. התגייסה והתנדבה. אף אחד לא הכריח. כולם באו מרצון.
So what was it that made you learn to become such good fighters?
המוטיבציה של הלוחמים אצלנו הייתה כמעט ללא גבולות. ידעו שנלחמים על הבית, וזה מרכיב שאין לו מידה, אבל יש לו השפעה קיצונית.
The Armored Corps Museum at Latrun
pays tribute to these young patriots and those among them who were not so young. All of those who sacrificed their lives in Israel's struggle against those who were so fiercely committed to its annihilation. I met one of those young freedom fighters at Latrun, an officer named Eitan Haber.
How do you figure that Israel managed to emerge from that war, to survive that war?
התשובה היא פשוטה מאוד, המוטיבציה. במילה אחת, רק המוטיבציה. היהודים ידעו כאן שהקרב הוא לחיים ולמוות. אין שום חוכמות בעניין הזה, רק המוטיבציה והידיעה שאו נחיה כאן, נצליח במלחמה ונחיה, לא נצליח, כולנו נשחה בים.
What connects you to this place?
נולדתי כאן, זה הבית שלי, לא התנסיתי בימי חיי בשום מקום אחר. עברתי כאן את כל המלחמות, כאן נולדו ילדיי כמו שאומר השיר. ומה שמחבר אותי זה בעיקר ההיסטוריה של העם היהודי. אין לי היום אף קרוב משפחה אמיתי בשום מקום בעולם. אין. אין לי כתובת אחרת. וזה, אני אומר לך, גם לעם היהודי אין כתובת אחרת. אני מאמין באמת בייחודו של העם היהודי, ואני מאמין במקומו כאן בארץ ישראל. השם יצטרך לעבוד הרבה שעות נוספות כדי שנחזיק מעמד פה.
Along the highway between Tel Aviv and Jerusalem lies an odd assortment of rusting parts from cannon, wagons, and old trucks. Thousands of Israelis drive by these relics of the War of Independence each day. Most never even notice them. But for some who pass by, these are more than roadside art. They were here. They lived the nightmare of 1948. To the man I'm about to meet, remembering comes easy. Aaron Axelrod spent much of his life, along with his celebrated filmmaker father, capturing on film the story of modern Israel from before there was even a nation here.
Did you realize how significant it was when you were doing it, when you were shooting it?
If I tell you that many times I was shooting and crying, would you believe me? I was shooting and crying because it was such a wonderful thing that happening. We are going to have our own state, our own freedom, our own Jewish state again after 2,000 years. My father took me during the War of Independence to a hush-hush shooting. He told me, you're not allowed to tell anybody that you're going with me. He said, you're coming with me and we will both shoot, but you will never speak about it. We were shooting the Burma Road. The Burma Road was a road that was built by people at night, circumventing the Arab positions in order to bring supplies into Jerusalem.
At the outbreak of the War of Independence, almost immediately, Jordan and forces of the Arab League placed a blockade on all supplies and communication to the city of Jerusalem. Amos Chorev would go on to become a high-ranking military planner and president of the prestigious Technion, the Israel Institute of Technology. But in 1948, he was a young fighter on the front line of this crisis.
Amos, why does this place mean so much to you?
You must understand, we want to save Jerusalem. It was under siege, total siege, when the Arab Legion got Latrun and blocked the road. It was under siege for the last few months already. Jerusalem with 100,000 people, no food, no water, no ammunition. Can you imagine? And I suggested to Colonel Marcus, who was then with the 7th Brigade, I said we could bulldoze our way to Jerusalem.
What, to make a new road, you mean?
A bypass road, bypass Latrun. There's no reason why we should take the highway. If this area is under our control, we can do that. This same night, me and another officer, we tried with the jeep we had to drive our way through those hills. And we got tired. Part of the way we slept.
אמיר, תתעורר. אמיר, תתעורר. תסתכל. אני לא יודע מי זה. אני חושב הם משלנו. הם משלנו.
Something happened which could have happened, I mean, a million times. Can you imagine that the same idea came up, conceived by another group of Herzl Brigade Palmach people, and they met with us. Once the two jeeps met, we knew that there is a possibility of driving jeeps. So we returned back, and we drove directly to the General Staff in Tel Aviv. We got 13 jeeps, loaded with about 600 kilos per jeep. We succeeded to get to Jerusalem with about 6.5 tons of ammunition, medical supplies. You can't understand what the medical supplies mean. I had friends who died because of lack of antibiotic penicillin.
Some people say, some of the rabbis I've spoken to say, that God had something to do with what happened here. What do you think?
I'm not a religious man. I'm secular. I do trust in motivation, in ability, in the people, in the unity of our people, in the understanding that there is no other country for us. This is our land.
We see the Boomer Road. That road was a dirt road, and in one place there was a big rock that the truck could not engage it. You see the bulldozer is pushing the truck. The truck were unloaded, pushed over the rock, and then reloaded, and that's the way they went up to Jerusalem. And the first convoy that came to Jerusalem, I was on it. The last shot is they are entering Jerusalem. I think the time, the stress, the terrible things that our nation went through brought up the best in us.
If you can think back over all the, I don't know how many thousands, millions of feet that you and your father shot over all those years, and pick out one moment that in your mind captures the essence of this country, what would it be?
Herzl funeral. When the State of Israel brought the coffin of the prophet of the State of Israel, Theodor Herzl, into this country, for 3 days, I don't think we stopped for lunch or to eat or to drink. We were running around and shooting. And I was standing there with a camera and waiting with all the people that came from all over the country with little bags to put the soil of Israel into his grave. From every piece of every settlement, every city, every place, they put a little sand into his grave. It was a great moment for the State of Israel. It's not the person himself. It's not the moment of burial itself. It's the idea. The Alt Neuland, the old new state. That's his book. And he said, if you believe it's strong enough, it is not a legend. And we believed, and it is not a legend.
Do you believe in miracles?
Wherever you look, and wherever you touch, it's a miracle.
David Ben-Gurion, architect of Israel, its first prime minister, probably the most beloved figure in modern Israel's history. There, George Washington. He was a great patriot, a Zionist with a vision for building this land into a great nation through hard work, determination, and sacrifice. He was not a religious man, yet David Ben-Gurion once said, "To live in Israel without believing in miracles is not practical." After 1948, a lot of his countrymen agreed with him.